Here at American Party, we've always said that exposing yourself is a bad idea, or leaving yourself exposed, whatever. The point is that you want to have your bases covered in life. There's no better way to do that than by drinking Cardamax Immune Booster, owned and operated by former Navy SEAL Sean Matson. Cardamax's immune boosters increase the body's ability to adapt to stressors, increase muscle endurance, and provide other immune system benefits as well. Use the promo code America to get 30% off your next 4 orders. That's at Cardamax.com, helping you achieve your max. Now we can get started with our show. How you doing today, buddy?
Man, I got a COVID test this morning.
How'd that go? Did you pass?
No, I actually tested positive.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And you came in here to share your pestilence with all of us.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Let's do it. I've been around a couple
You're
of
fucking welcome. I was going to kiss you later.
Well, we can do it.
See, I knew if I got COVID, you'd be into me.
Well, that's what it really took. I think Brittany might have COVID as well.
No, I tested negative. Yeah.
Are you disappointed?
I honestly hoped, I went there and hoped and prayed that I got COVID.
Because you have COVID, or you've had it, and you've had the vaccination.
So I haven't got it.
Oh, you haven't gotten it. So you're, Brittany says I'm not allowed to kiss you, so sorry. Maybe when she gets here Friday and she can watch, maybe that'll change things. I don't know. Dude. Well, that's between the two of you.
Yeah, Brittany, we'll sit down and negotiate on this. And if I want to kiss Dan, I'm fucking kissing him.
Have a puzzle contest?
Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. Let's have a fucking puzzle contest, Brittany. Yeah, no, I went and got tested this morning. No, negative on the COVID. So
why did you get tested? Just for shits and gigs or what?
I mean, I had direct exposure. So I was just trying to do my duty.
Wait, so they tested you yesterday and it came back negative, which means you also don't have the flu because that PCR test can't tell the difference.
True.
Congratulations.
Well, I got tested this morning, right before I came here.
Oh.
I wanted to make sure that I kept you safe.
I don't need you to because I've had it, so I have natural antibodies.
Well, you'll think when you get it again.
The people that are least likely to get it are me.
Yeah, you'll think. Anyways, so yeah, I did that, and then, man, I gotta tell you, I was looking at. So I read the Daily Mail a lot. They're usually pretty good. And the only reason I even say the Daily Mail is pretty good is because I know that they write a lot of shit on me. So I don't know how they find out what they find out, but it's like 60% accurate. But man, there's a lot of crazy shit going on.
There's quite a bit of crazy stuff, and it's kind of hard to tell what is and isn't crazy these days because the media is so full of shit. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about.
Dude,
today.
I'll tell you right now. The next show we got to do is on Cuomo. Oh, how does this guy fucking survive from this?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think he's going to get another Emmy.
No.
I'm just kidding.
How does he survive? How does he pull out of this, right? How the fuck does he pull out of this? I don't see any way. I mean, this is almost at the level of Harvey Weinstein. This is at the level, this is way worse. I mean, no, I'm not going to say way worse. I don't know how you compare worse to worse. But this is fucking, I think this is way worse than fucking Bill Cosby.
Well, I don't know if he actually raped anybody.
Well, I mean,
he's sexually harassed and
he's using his fucking power.
Yeah, for sure.
He's using his fucking power to fucking do this. I mean, this is insane. How does this guy survive?
Well, I think the real problem is because now Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York State, is calling him out, and Albany is beginning an investigation. Albany is the capital of New York, for those of you who don't know. Kirsten Gillibrand and Charles Schumer, the 2 senators from New York, have now called for him to resign, as has the president.
Hey, so but let me tell you what he's doing. Here's where he just fucked up, and I just seen this come up. This just popped up. This is where he fucked up. You know what he did? So because everybody called him out, Cuomo he's presenting pics of Biden, Obama, Kamala, and the Clintons hugging and kissing people to excuse his behavior. He says, if Joe and them can do it, why can't I?
Is that really what he said? Is that on his Twitter or some shit? I can't see your screen there, buddy. Where was this posted?
I guess they say it's on his let's see, where's it at?
Is it on his Twitter?
I don't know. Where did he fucking post it?
I want to see that. Can you guys find this and put it up on the screen? Dakota, if you can send that link over to airdrop it to MacBook.
Okay. This is fucking awesome.
What's really awesome was I didn't watch it. It's too bad Ross isn't in here right now because I would ask him. I didn't watch it last night, but it would be really interesting to hear back from somebody who watched the broadcast of Chris Cuomo's show.
Oh, yeah. Where they caught it pest?
He didn't say a fucking word about any of this stuff.
I wonder why. Interesting, right? It's really just interesting. I'm sure it was. I'm sure he just. I'm sure he had so many other topics going on that he just kind of fucking overlooked it. You know. I'm sure it wasn't on accident.
No.
You don't think so?
So Cuomo presents pics. And 85. So this was in response. It was a legal brief, I suppose, in response to the Attorney General's report. Cuomo, in an 85-page defense, used photos of other Democrats and George Bush in an attempt to show that all politicians get handsy. He says his behavior against women is nothing out of the ordinary, and any claim of assault is untrue. Some women say he groped their asses. They say behinds, but that's stupid. Behinds and breasts. But he denies that. Everyone from de Blasio to Biden is now calling for him to leave. I'd have to see the photo. Oh, wow.
No.
Jesus Christ. It's a Daily Mail article. Find it?
What do we keep having coming in here?
We can't play the video because it's copyrighted.
Actually learned.
Turn that shit off. Find the pictures.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I can't share
I'll send it right now. Hang on.
It's right here. Dude, how awesome is that?
I'll airdrop it to
This
you
is
guys.
pretty fucking good, right?
Mac Mini? Which one is it? It's not on here.
This is fucking awesome.
Come on, guys.
He says his behavior. Hold on.
I'm just going to email it.
He says his behavior against women is nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, that's something else. So you're going to want to scroll down.
This is awesome. I hope his motherfucker gets impeached.
Scroll down to about past that first set of ads where it says Roman numeral 1, President Joe Biden. And if you could, being able to see a monitor would be great for us because I can't see what the fuck's on the screen.
Well, hey, look, there it is. Look at that.
Yeah.
Would you look at that?
So there's one. Keep scrolling down.
Keep scrolling down. It gets better.
Oh, boy. All right.
85-page rebuttal. How much money do you think his rebuttal cost?
I wonder how many pages were specifically other people hugging people.
Look at this.
That's Kamala Harris with Senator Cory Booker.
I like how, hold on. You know what I like even more is that he put Obama with a guy. Like they put guys in there.
Yeah.
Like
Obama kissing Nancy Pelosi on the cheek. That looks like Jay Carney. Yes, it is. And then Angela Merkel, who is the Chancellor of Germany. Obama hugging a victim of her. This one, look, regardless of how you feel about Kamala Harris or Obama or any of these people, none of these embraces, if you want to call them that, or in any way out of the ordinary. It's not the same as somebody fucking walking up behind you and
well, none of these people accused him of sexual assault.
Yeah, obviously.
You know what I mean? Like there's a big difference.
Wow. This is about the cringiest shit I've ever seen. But the real problem for me isn't necessarily Cuomo and his actions, because there are assholes and assholes do asshole things. The problem is that the media spent the last fucking 6 months protecting this guy until finally one of their own came out and said, confirmed the negative shit. It should not have required that. If the standard is to believe women, right, and then investigate things immediately, that should be the standard, and that's clearly not the case, right?
Yeah.
So that's leads me to this thing I posted on Instagram this morning. It's a quote from myself, so I'm going to read it, but pay attention. Just remember that every liberal or conservative pundit you enjoy is required by definition to use confirmation bias to make any fact they see fit their partisan agenda. Remember that.
Yeah.
When you're out there, people keep asking me, what news do you watch or whatever the fuck. I watch it all, and I assume that the person talking to me is full of shit, right?
Yeah.
I assume that they're filtering everything through their confirmation bias because they need certain things to be true in order for their narrative to continue and persist and for the reason they need their narrative to persist is because that narrative was constructed towards a certain goal, right? Which is to gain more power or whatever it is.
For sure. Dude, this is crazy.
It is pretty wild, yeah.
This is fucking crazy.
It's pretty wild. And it goes into today. This is kind of a touchy subject because it involves suicide, which is a touchy subject in general. And it involves police officers. And this Capitol situation is the intersection of a lot of social dynamics that are happening in America right now.
But here's what I don't understand is they're saying that the New York Attorney General found that her father did sexually, like that Cuomo did sexually assault 11 women.
Well, I mean, she says the Attorney General saying something like that means that that's kind of like a grand jury determining there's enough evidence to actually have a trial, right? Like a lot of papers and a lot of conservative internet people have been posting that he's been found guilty of something. That is not true.
No, he hasn't been found guilty, but
there's been no due process.
But they did find enough to, I mean, it says the New York Attorney General says that he did sexually harass 11 women.
Correct.
So either way,
that's she's not a court of law. This is
of course she's not. And what I also love is that his daughter is a fucking women's rights champion.
Well, I mean, even I can't really hear myself well in my own headphones.
You can't?
No.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Because I love you.
Thanks. That's weird. So on multiple occasions, and I'm sure you've seen it over the past couple of days on the internet and stuff, there have been tweets from Cuomo in 2013. I don't know if it was in reference to, but it was kind of at the beginning of the Me Too thing about believing all women.
Yeah.
And then in 2018, I believe, during the Kavanaugh proceedings, where he said that we should believe the women that are accusing Kavanaugh. And this goes into Friday's show for American Party that you'll see at noon on Friday, which is rules for thee, and not for me. It's his attitude that, we have our own separate retirement plan, our own separate healthcare system, and a separate set of rules. And that is the definition of aristocracy, which is what this country was founded to prevent. Well, so we're in a bit of a mire here, I guess, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah. Well, I'll say as a doctor, my second opinion is that this dude's fucked.
You're not a doctor.
Hey, Dan, I want you to fucking call me doctor today.
Nobody believes that.
Dan, just call me doctor once.
That'll never happen.
Just say, hey, Dr. Meyer. And also, I can diagnose you for hearing loss if you want me to. If you want to come and get an exam I think after this, as soon as we get off the show, I would like to do a physical on you and just see how bad your hearing loss is.
You're just trying to put stuff in my butt.
Well,
it's not going to happen.
That's part of the thorough exam.
No, there's no hearing exam that involves my butt.
Who's the fucking doctor here?
Neither one of us are doctors.
Bro, I'm the doctor.
And that's kind of the point.
I'm the doctor.
Anyways.
Yeah. So anyways.
Is there any way to turn up my microphone in my own headphones? Because I really can't hear it very well.
Fuck me. It's cranked all the way up, dude.
So can you just turn up my headphone volume?
Well,
is that possible?
We can do a lot of things, but we can't do that.
What are you, Meatloaf now? Fuck off.
You can call me Dr. Meatloaf.
Thanks. I'm not doing that either.
So anyways, the show today is a very interesting one. You see all this shit hitting the news. Also, holy fuck. All the news hitting.
Is that loud?
No, I can only hear in one ear. All the news hitting about the Capitol Police suicides. This is another fucking okay. I see what they do. They help you and fuck me.
Yeah, I don't know why I would be dependent on one thing or another. This is a shit show.
Yeah,
Anyways, let's keep going. So this is a bit of a touchy issue, I guess. A lot. Again, it's the intersection of a lot of social issues, a lot of issues that a lot of us in our community have dealt with, suicides and things like that. And I just want to address this now, today, on Wednesday, before Failure to Stop on Friday, because they're going to do a deep dive on the the Capitol riots, why it's certainly not an insurrection, and the fact that what you're seeing in the news with these people like Adam Kinzinger and 2 or 3 police officers crying and shit like that is not representative of the main force of the Capitol Police. A lot of other issues that are being investigated right now that we've been informed of that we can't talk about, but we're going to get into this and just deconstruct this a little bit so people can kind of get a better grasp of what's happening. And, you know, keep your if that aphorism where there's smoke there's fire is true, this is going to be the smoke, and you need to start looking for the fire. I guess.
Well, we'll bring you the fire because you like to bring the heat.
That was unnecessary.
Yeah. So
it turns out there's four police officers have been identified who were first responders on January 6th who have committed suicide.
But
only one of whom was an actual Capitol Police officer. The other 3 were D.C. Metro officers. Yeah. And during events like that, D.C. Metro officers are assigned to do traffic, right? Not necessarily be active on the ground, combating people and stuff like that. So we'll get into all this. And regardless of I just want to make this clear before we begin. Regardless of what we found about these officers' level of involvement in the actual January 6th situation or how it's being spun in the media, it is a tragic loss of life. These men put their lives on the line many, many times before January 6th. So none of this is to denigrate them or their memories or any of that stuff.
No, it's just the facts.
I would be, if I were one of these men, I would certainly not want my memory or my sacrifice to be twisted in such a way that it's being used for a false political narrative. And I would want somebody to step the fuck up and set the record straight.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I mean, we've also got 2 guys sitting here who have lost a fuck ton of people to suicide.
More to suicide than combat.
Certainly. 3 times at least for me. And so
it's double for me, but still,
really on the back.
Close.
So really, before anybody takes this and spins it, this is not something that it's not in our community either, right? But the one thing I do want to point out that's kind of crazy is this Capitol riot only lasted 1 day.
Yeah. Well, not even a full day.
Not even a full day. If the riots are what caused it, I mean, you should see. I mean, it should be all over the nation, right? With the riots. I mean, I know guys. I got friends here in Austin who are working riots every night, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you go look at all these riots that were out in Missouri, like all this shit. Like this is just so fucked that the politicians and the media joins in on it, are using this to push the agenda of all this, right? Mm-hmm. So fucked, man. What are all politicians, Dan?
I believe.
What do you call them? See you next Tuesdays?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yes.
Can anybody spell?
See you next Tuesdays.
Giorgio's shaking his head because he drank too many Steel Reserves yesterday. So he's not going to be able to spell for a while. Bob is going through, his wife's about to give birth, so I think all of his energy is gone as well. Delco, you're the only guy left with any kind of cognitive abilities, and to be honest, I feel like you're being overworked right now because of the slacking from these two, from the drunkard and the father.
I couldn't spell before drinking.
That's fair. Yeah.
I don't know why you guys are looking to me for anything.
Well, we got to look somewhere, and you're the only one I can see. There's computers blocking these other 2 guys.
So Officer Howard Liebengood.
Yep.
51-year-old, was former professional race car driver before becoming a police officer.
Right.
2002, he drove a BMW sponsored by Pennzoil and the national campaign to stop violence, as well as presenting a youth motivational program called Racing to Live by the Rules.
Yeah, I've heard that this is an exceptional human being.
Yeah.
That was the report from the police officers who were Capitol police officers who have known him for over a decade now.
So he had ties to the Senate through his father, Howard Liebengood. who was a Senate sergeant at arms from 1981 to 1983. His father later formed a powerful lobbying firm and served as chief of staff of former Senator Fred Thompson and former Senate Majority Leader Bill Frist. Liebengood was assigned to the Senate Division of the Capitol Police in April of 2005. 3 days after the Capitol riot on January 9, 2021, Liebengood was found dead of an apparent suicide while off duty. So, why do they say apparent?
Well, I mean,
why is the word apparent there?
I don't know why they would use that phrase specifically.
I mean, that's shady to me right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean,
apparent suicide.
How do you know for sure? I guess.
Well,
I mean, if it's pills and there's a note, I guess, or if there's a single.
I mean, they usually rule
wound.
it. They rule it of what it is. If it's either, you know what I mean? Like they rule it. Homicide, suicide. They usually don't say apparent.
Yeah, and to be fair, this particular case has been twisted quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now, because he was the lone Capitol Police officer, the other guys were Metro. There's been quite a bit of division over this. His wife requested, his widow requested that his death be considered in the line of duty for a number of reasons. And this is something that we fought for SGLI-wise when it comes to suicides of active duty service members, right? You're telling me that a guy goes over there, sees and does fucked up shit, gets fucked up themselves, gets hooked on painkillers or whatever it is, and then kills themselves. You tell me that that's not a line of duty death? I mean, that's fucking bullshit, right? Because especially when the apparatus or organization that's meant to take care of them and heal them fails them abjectly. To me, that is a situation where somebody should be considered a line of duty death.
I have a relevant number for you if you want it.
Sure.
So
it's about time.
The main studies don't include suicide. There is an organization called Blue Help that does. In 2019, there were 228 police suicides, and in 2020, it was 173.
Yeah, I mean this like suicides. I mean, this is normal. I mean, like it
happens a lot. Yeah. So when you have to dig deeper in these conversations. So at first glance, his widow Serena Liebengood would be asking for the off-duty death to be considered service-related or service-connected, as we call it in the military.
I mean, but
you would think that maybe, or the media has been trying to spin that as he died because of what he saw at the Capitol that day. That is not the case, right? Or at least according to her, who doing better than anybody else. She reported that her husband was ordered to remain on duty nearly 24 hours a day for 3 hours, was severely sleep deprived and blah, blah, blah. But it exacerbated something that was already going on, right? Which is to say that the U.S. Capitol Police have severe need for reform the same way that the U.S. military and the VA do.
So does every other fucking first responder organization.
Correct.
I mean, so does you talk about the stress that's being put on. I mean,
especially over the last year and a half, right?
The year and a half.
Nurses.
I mean, look, you look at nurses. I mean, let's just talk about EMS side of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about. I mean, they do imagine this. They do mandatory overtime.
Yeah.
For these fucking paramedics out here who are running their asses off on the box
and exposing themselves
every fucking day.
Yeah.
And they mandatory overtime and they pay them fucking shit.
Right.
Like, so this ain't just a
unfortunately they run the
police deal.
They run the benefits side of first responder and military as you've got to prove to me, when it should be the assumption that person died doing what they were supposed to do, right? Even if it's a suicide.
Man, I'm against the whole suicide thing. I'm against the whole paying SGLI for the suicide thing.
Not me.
I am, just because there's too many factors to it. Like it's not the same. It's not the same as a dude fucking hooking and jabbing in fucking war. You know what I mean? It's not I don't ever want to equate the sacrifice that's made of a dude who got down in a fucking gunfight defending this country versus a guy that chooses to come back, and a guy who comes back, don't even say chooses, but comes back and then fucking blows his brains out. But because it's not the fucking same. I'm not saying that either one is. I'm not saying which one's worthy or not, because I know a lot of good fucking dudes that did it.
Yeah.
But on the backside of it, it's not the fucking same. You know what I mean? It's not the same for you to. I mean, look, we've all had our demons. We've all gone down fucking rock bottom, right? Like, got it. But we all also made a fucking choice, and that's the difference, right?
Right. I mean, that's the
difference, right? The difference
fair,
is the choice is to fucking get up and
you're applying
logic.
Well, no, that's not true at all. You're applying a psychological standard that you would not apply physiologically. If a guy had a wound that continued to abscess or
for sure
whatever the fuck, and it killed him 2 or 3, 10 years later, we would still consider that.
Do you think it's okay for us these guys to go over? I mean, you know as well as I do. Most guys who talk about that they seen combat didn't even fucking see combat.
Right.
Real combat. Like, let's talk about, they got a pop shot. Like, and then it's like this.
But that's not the main stressor in post-traumatic stress isn't single events of severe psychological trauma. What it is, in most cases, is prolonged exposure to elevated levels of stress and fear, right? That's what causes true post-traumatic stress. It's being mortared 380 days out of 400 days, not being in a gunfight.
But who did that? I mean, like, yeah, there's some out there, but it's a fucking small percentage. A lot of the guys I know that fucking killed themselves, like, they didn't even see combat.
Right, but it's all relative, right? Like your brain.
I mean,
your brain is different than theirs because you've been exposed to more intense shit. And I'm not saying that we should promote any of this. Obviously, this is a problem that needs to be fixed. But the issue is that we look at it from a point of view that we look at it from our point of view, right? We start at a level 10. Like, if something doesn't reach that level, then it doesn't really matter to us at this point. But for them, they sit around a fucking 0 to 2, and anything over 2 seems way worse than it would to us.
I mean,
so that perspective has a psychological effect.
But I'm not saying, I didn't start at a level 10. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that what they've been exposed to is, like, even if it's a level 2, is, I mean, it's the worst day of your life is no different than, no more significant than the worst day of my life. It's all fucking relative of what's the worst thing we've ever seen, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact is what you chose to do without it. Like, after that, the fact is how you found a way to push through it and become better. And
well, I mean, we all
purpose.
find a way through each other typically, but when that's the reason that Drinking Bros was started by Jared in the first place. Is
For
because
sure.
Everybody, back in when we were in, Jared I think joined in 2002 or something like that. I was in 05. You were in 03, right?
06.
06. Oh, okay. Who was it? 03. I don't remember. Anyways. We all went through that part of the war where social media wasn't really a big thing yet. And then by the time we were getting out, it became a thing. And then Jared and a lot of us started leveraging it to stay in touch with all of our friends, because that was what we thought was one of the main contributing factors, is you lose your support system.
Dude, I would rather give money. I'd rather put in place a life insurance policy or SGLI or something similar to that for people who committed suicide due to sexual assault than I would some motherfucker that never served in combat and came back and fucking killed himself because he went through boot camp and got yelled at fucking 3 times.
Right. I mean, if there's no connection
to
actual war, then you're not going to fucking.
But look at the VA. Like, we already ran down this fucking thing. People walk around with their fucking PTSD, their hats and their fucking dogs, and walking around, don't pet my dog. And they're the same people who put the don't shoot fireworks out in my front fucking yard. Yeah. And beat their wives and all this other bullshit are the same ones that never seen combat and never got their ass handed to them.
Right, but I mean, again, you're judging this based off your own rubric, and that's not accurate for most people. Most people don't have the experience of running headlong into gunfire, so that's not even a thing that they can imagine.
Don't sign up to do alpha shit when you're not a fucking alpha.
You're saying that no alphas ever killed themselves?
No, I know plenty of them.
Right.
I know plenty of them, but what I'm saying is there's not, like, a lot of them you see now have, especially after, like, you look at the people who are, I mean, there's guys who are 100% disabled because they went to boot camp.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but look, those people are going to exist. We're not talking about, you don't build the rule for the exception. You build the rule for the rule. And the rule is that the vast majority of people who have post-traumatic stress get it from prolonged exposure to elevated stress and fear. Not from watching their buddy die, not from killing somebody, not from fucking actual even combat sometimes.
Bro.
It's just from hearing bombs drop around them every day and they don't know what the fuck's going to happen. That uncertainty is what causes most post-traumatic stress. That is the reality of the situation. We have to plan for the reality. It's not about some scale of what is or isn't.
I mean,
acceptable.
there's people who are exposed to shit ton of stress in this world every day of trying to pay. Like, there's single moms out there who are trying to pay their fucking bills, exposed to stress every single day of trying to figure out how they're going to feed their kids.
Yeah, but there's
tomorrow.
not bombs going off around them. That's not really comparable.
And the reality of it is that there's not bombs going off around a lot of people over there.
A lot, yeah. But I mean, if you were
after 2011, 12.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
That was when the war ended. We're talking about people from the actual war, from like 2002 to fucking whatever, 2010 or so.
Well,
at any rate,
you're just more of an empathizer than I am.
I sure am, yeah. Sure am.
Thanks for your service.
And it's...
I'm a doctor, though.
I think... I think that we got off on a tangent there, but I definitely think that this woman... I think this woman is right that suicides like this should be considered in the line of duty, particularly if they were under some level of extreme stress. I mean, you have to adjudicate each case.
But bro, then that's the case of all these first responders.
All first responders in general, I would say.
That's what I'm saying.
Like it's easy. It's the same way that everybody diagnosed the COVID death number. Yeah, they may have died with COVID, but was that just the final straw in a fucking long line of other bullshit, like obesity or some other kind of illness? Or was it a contributing factor? And how much weight do you give to each contributing factor? You can't really make that determination.
No, exactly. And I mean, you look at all all these cops who are out there, busting their ass every day. All the EMS, all of our first responder system is under extreme stress every single day that they are on shift. Every single fucking day.
Yeah. So this guy in particular, she reported that her husband remained on duty for nearly 24 hours a day for 3 straight days during the riot. We all know the sleep deprivation exacerbates any kind of psychological issue that's going on. The chief of UCSP has not yet acknowledged that Liebengood died in the line of duty because the death is still under investigation. I'm confident that one's going to work out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. For sure.
Now, the next 3 dudes these are a little bit more interesting. And again, we're running through the facts of these cases. We're not necessarily, I don't want to get too deep into the people themselves because it's more about how the tragedy is being leveraged in the media, right?
That's what it's about.
Before we get to that, we're going to do these sponsors. So.
Oh, well, you know what I do love.
What, Ghostbed?
Ghostbed. And actually had a guy text me today who's buying a Ghostbed, They get it. They get how great Ghostbed is. Ghostbed's doing. They're doing a 40% bundle right now?
Yeah, so
40% bundle.
It's a flash sale. We don't know how long it's going to last yet. It depends on how many get sold. So if you're looking for a bed, now's the time to get it. They're offering a bundle, so you can get everything you need all at the same time. They have 4 separate mattresses you can choose from. The top 2 of which are cooling, which is the Lux and the 3D Matrix. Whether you need a mattress, a frame, or you want it all, including the pillows and sheets and everything. If you buy the bundle, if you buy the base and the mattress, everything else you get there is 40% off, including the base and the bundle. Or if you're just looking for a single item, whether it's a mattress, a base, sheets, pillows, fucking mattress toppers, mattress protectors, any of that stuff, it's 30% off using the code DrinkerBros at ghostbed.com/DrinkerBros. You can get a mattress for like $35 a month with their pay-as-you-go system there. 36-month pay-as-you-go, no interest if you qualify, and then even if you don't, they have great fucking deals there. So go check it out. Ghostbed.com/DrinkerBros. Next up, we talked about it before the show. We got Cardamax Immune Booster. I drink it every day.
I drink it every day too, and maybe that's why I didn't get COVID.
Maybe, yeah. I don't think you can really make medical claims like that.
Well, I mean, I'm a doctor, so I'll be honest. I'm a doctor. From my second opinion, I drink Cardamax Immunity every single day, and all I'm going to say is that I have not gotten COVID, and I went and tested, no COVID.
Causation and correlation. But it does keep me healthy. I've noticed since I've started using it over the past 6 months or so. We've been traveling a lot more, gone to Vegas a number of times. Been there 3 times, to the Ozarks where there's just random knuckleheads running around everywhere. So I've been exposed and on planes everywhere. I've not gotten sick once in the last 6 months. Definitely have I can feel my immunity is stronger. I've been around people who are sick and have not gotten anything. And even the allergies that I usually get here in Texas have been less severe this year. So Cardamax Immune Booster uses all natural ingredients that increase the body's ability to adapt to stressors, increase muscle endurance, and provide other immune system benefits. Owned and operated by former Navy SEAL and fellow Drink It Bro, Sean Matson. You all know him. He tried to run a mile in a fucking bomb suit for no reason.
And listen, I want to say this too. Like ever since I've started drinking it, taking it every single day, I took it like the first month to make sure it was in my system real good, you know, built up.
Yep.
Dude, and after that, I threw away every fucking condom I had because I know there's no chance I'll ever get an STD now.
Yeah.
Because I'll be that fucking immune, bro.
I think that's probably how it works. So
yeah,
if you're interested in that kind of flexibility in your sex life, Cardamax is offering American Party an exclusive offer, 30% off each of your next 4 orders. So go to Cardamax.com, use the promo code American. That's Cardamax, Cardomax.com. Use the promo code American and you will get 30% off of each of your next 4 orders. That's Cardamax.com, helping you achieve your max.
Yeah, dude. I tell you, I drink it every day. I love it. And I haven't got sick.
Yeah. Well,
from COVID. I do think it prevents COVID and AIDS.
COVID, they should put that on the package.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe I'm going to talk to Sean and see if we can make my own packet that says like, you know, you get like, let's do some more ingredients and we amplify it and we make sure that there's no, we can just, you know, advertise it as preventing COVID. You don't, yeah, dude, I'm with you. I think it's great. I haven't got COVID and I just don't think it's a fucking coincidence. You know what I mean?
Well, you are a first responder, so you are around a lot of it, I would assume.
I am. I'm around you a lot too.
Well, yeah, that'll get you sick.
Yeah.
Mentally, more so than physically.
All right, Officer Kyle DeFreytag.
Yeah, I don't know how you say that name, but I'm guessing that's close. 26-year-old. He joined the D.C. Metro Police Department in November of 2016, so he's been there since this is probably his first job.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
He was assigned to the 5th District prior to the January 6th riot. On July 10th of this year, he was found dead from an apparent suicide. So not a whole lot of details have been made public about this particular guy. But again, from what I understand from the Capitol Police that we've spoken to over the last week or two.
And you just got off the phone
with
getting info.
Yeah. These Metro Police officers were put into a cordon around the area, right, to conduct traffic in and out of the area. They weren't necessarily responding at the Capitol itself. I don't know about this guy in particular. I don't know if anybody managed to get over there. But I promise you this. There were no fucking articles over the summer last year on CNN and MSNBC about police officers who had died in the line of duty, like Eric Dorn, for example, the retired police officer in St. Louis that just got smoked outside of a convenience store he was trying to protect, or any of the police officers that got injured or killed or who committed suicide after that from the fucking wave of violence we saw. Fucking 8-month wave of violence from Antifa.
Well, I mean, why are we, again, like we talk about, you'll hear it on the show Friday. We talked about it a little bit at length about how there's only accountability with the Capitol riots. There's no fucking accountability of nobody's getting charged for the bullshit that they did. We don't hear any of that in the news of all the bullshit of burning down the cities and this and that.
Right.
We don't hear what police are you know, what's happening to cops. You don't see the suicides across the nation who were involved in those riots being, you know, conducting those, you know, trying to protect the cities from those riots. You don't see those being correlated to that. And I guarantee you there are cop suicides in almost all those, or a lot of those for sure, locations who were involved in those riots. You don't hear any of that shit, do you?
Yeah. And how many?
None of it.
There's no, I haven't seen any articles about how many police officers just left police service over the last year either.
No one's talking
tired
about that
of this
either.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's because if you're trying to slowly and subtly chip away at the things, the institutions that defend America, which is clearly what's happening here. And by the way, if you think all this like George Soros stuff is some kind of conspiracy theory, Go ahead and look into the fact that yesterday he just gave another $250,000 to Gavin Newsom's anti-recall effort.
Yeah.
That's $500,000 that he's spent on that so far. Go ahead and look into all of the judges whose campaigns across the nation, progressive judges that he funded. Why? Why would a foreigner come to this country, spend that amount of money trying to reshape the way the judicial system works and the way our fucking politics work? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like what possible good could come from that? The answer is none.
None.
So when you see these police officers leaving service that are tired of this shit or killing themselves or getting injured or whatever it is, and just the general disrespect, I don't know how anybody's left, to be honest. And when you're trying to subtly chip away at those institutions, you don't announce the fallout from it.
Yep.
You don't say, "Oh, got him this time." No, you print a story about, or you either ignore the story or you find a new way to shape the narrative. And that's what they're doing here with these Capitol and Metropolitan Police officers. So the next guy, Officer Jeffrey Smith, 35 years old. He had been a member of the Metro Police for 12 years before the riot. His wife stated that she received text messages from her husband during the riot saying he thought he might die that day. The officer sustained brain injuries during the riot when he was struck in the head by a metal pole thrown by a rioter. Now, that one I believe we saw on video.
Yep.
Smith was put on sick leave following the incident and continued to suffer pain in the days after the attack. Later, his wife said he wasn't the same Jeff that left on the 6th. I tried to comfort him and let him know that I loved him. Look, we have all seen and maybe even dealt with traumatic brain injury. Mm-hmm. Like, that shit fucks you up immediately.
It's fucking real.
It'll fuck up your pituitary, which means your hormones are all fucked up. And if you want to know what someone whose hormones are fucked up is like
just come hang
psychologically,
out with me.
Just go fucking visit a pregnant woman in the last trimester or the week before their period. I believe there's a word for that, the premenstrual syndrome.
It's PMS called Pack My Suitcase Week.
Yeah, it is. Like when your hormones get fucked up, you have severe psychological issues. January 15th, he was found dead from an apparent suicide the day he was scheduled to return to duty. It seemed like it would probably just be too much for him at that point. Now, I've suffered in some of these ways before with traumatic brain injury and stuff like that and rehealing your brain, and it takes a lot of time to do that. And it does feel hopeless a lot because you can't understand why you're so fucked up.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like a piece of shit, because we're used to being like alphas. We can take care of ourselves. I don't want to ask for help. There are other people that are suffering more than me. Blah, blah, blah. It's always the same shit, right? Until finally we break and then we look like an asshole. You know what I mean? We always, but it's like that. You have to hit rock bottom sometimes, I guess.
Well, I say sometimes you find yourself in the middle of nowhere, and sometimes in the middle of nowhere you find yourself. Yeah. And I mean, I get it. I mean, I've had quite a few TBIs, and I mean, when I came back, I had to go through. It was like 4 or 5 months of speech therapy to, I guess, like that helps reroute it. Like, dude, I get lost in Walmart.
Yeah.
Forget, like, I would catch myself driving around, not even know where the fuck, where I was fucking going.
I would lose.
Like, why am I doing? Like, what did I leave for?
I would lose my phone in my car a lot. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how it was happening, but my phone would end up underneath my seat or in the back of the car, and I would have to pull over and find it because I didn't know where I was going. I needed GPS and shit like that. That's weird, right?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. So, anyways, the Smith family's attorney says that claims the suicide may have been influenced by the brain trauma caused by the injuries. Of course they were. I mean, that's how that fucking works.
That's how that goes.
His wife, Erin, is pushing for city officials to recognize his death as line of duty also. So all of these officers that they were able to parade on stage, they gave them medals of valor, right? But the ones that killed themselves can't even get designated as in the line of duty deaths. Are you fucking kidding me?
But they're using them.
Well, now they are in the media, but the families still haven't been taken care of yet.
Yeah.
6 months after the fact, Jeff McGill, the founder of Blue Help, a nonprofit outreach group for people affected by officer suicides, explained the significance of classifying the death as in the line of duty with the following statement. The significance of the line of duty death is that Miss Smith is now left where Officer Smith was the primary breadwinner. If it is not a line of duty death, she will receive a lump sum payment of a very small amount of money, which is not sufficient as a savings mechanism. But it's also not appropriate under the facts and circumstances. So, again, I go back to this. What difference does it make how the person died if it was connected to their service? The family needs to be taken care of still. That family sacrificed just as much as that soldier or police officer did, regardless. So that shit is unacceptable. But that's what we're talking about, right? It's not just about, excuse me, it's not just about the suicides themselves or the riot itself or any of that stuff. It is about the way that no matter what happens, the media on either side grabs, shapes, twists, and then re-exports into their own narrative, whatever the facts of the case might be.
But you would think that it would help their case even more if they went ahead and awarded these 4 people, like not awarded, or basically helped them out by saying it is a line of duty death.
Yeah.
It would help justify their narrative even more.
You would think so, yeah. You would think that that would be, but maybe not, right? Because maybe when you start, if you're in the political sphere, maybe when you start getting involved at the police union level, then people start asking other questions like, where the fuck were you last summer? You know what I mean? And my guess is there have been some of those calls. If I had to guess, I would say some union reps have been contacted by leftist politicians and said, hey, how can we help? And the response was, why don't you go fuck yourself? Because that's exactly what I would say if one of these assholes called me.
For sure.
To be honest. I mean, I can't, after all the stupid bullshit they did last year and ignored last year, there's no fucking way I would let them get involved in that process, because all they're going to do is shuffle things around a little bit, try to reshape a narrative, and then take credit and spike the football and say, hey, we loved cops all along.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, for
Here's
sure.
the fucking proof. No, fuck you.
Fuck
You don't get to come back into the conversation now and do that bullshit after you ignored their suffering all summer long.
Yes.
To a degree that is far, far more damaging than any shit that happened in a 3-hour, 4-hour period on January 6th of this year. Give me a fucking break.
For sure.
And I'll say this again, too. For those of you whose minds rebel at completely unreasonable and illogical things, and that's what your mind should do, by the way, I ask you to just ponder the fact that the most armed part of the most armed population on earth, that is to say, if you want to even call them far-right conservatives in America, the most armed people on earth, tried to conduct an insurrection at the Capitol of the United States, and not one person brought a gun. Not one.
Yeah.
How does that make sense? Like if you were going to play pickup basketball, right, and you invited your buddy, and he showed up in a fucking tuxedo, you would ask the question rhetorically, did you even come to play basketball? And the answer would clearly be no, because he's not dressed for it. If somebody shows up without a gun, they're not intending to do an insurrection in fucking 2021. This isn't fucking medieval fucking Rome, or I'm sorry, medieval England or something where you can show up with knives and horses and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fucking stupid. The last person, another Metro, and hopefully this is the final time this happens, but we know that it won't be, unfortunately. But Officer Gunther Hashida, 43 years old, he joined the D.C. Metropolitan Police in May of 2003. He's been there a while, almost 20 years. He had been recently assigned to the ERT, the Emergency Response Team, with the Special Operations Division. On July 29th, so just a couple of days ago, he was found dead in his residence from apparent suicide. Details regarding how or why he killed himself had not been released. He left behind a sister, wife, and 3 children, and a GoFundMe page has been set up and all that, probably because they've seen what's happened to the other 3 officers and how they've not been taken care of so far. That's probably why they set up the GoFundMe.
For sure.
And that's a goddamn shame that somebody whose family has dedicated itself to protecting others has to fucking depend on the charity of others instead of just being taken care of. But that is what it is, right? So I wonder, Bob, you mentioned some numbers before. I don't know if you have anything specific for DC Metro or or anything like that. But how many people committed suicide over the course of like each year, 2017, 18, 19, 20?
I tried to look that up.
I had 20. So Blue Help looks up those numbers, and I'll try to get them. But 2020 had about 50 less than 2019. But those are, I think Blue Help even says like they're always kind of like getting more numbers and stuff like that. I don't think they considered the 2020 count final.
Okay. What about before 2019? Because what it says on the website, 2016 and 17, they compared data that other organizations were keeping track of, and then they merged that data in 2018.
167 in 2018.
And then in 2019 was 200 something?
228, I think, maybe.
And then
is this nationwide or just DC?
Nationwide.
Nationwide, yeah. And then 2020 was what? 180 something?
173, something like that.
What's if I was trying to look for the numbers of DC.
Right.
I couldn't find it.
I would say major metropolitan area, DC, Seattle, Portland, Minneapolis, places like that where they've seen quite a bit of this civil strife. That data would be interesting to see. And the reason I asked that question is, again, I want to know what the trend is. Is this something that's scaling upward? It looks like it might be scaling upward, whether it's because of civil strife or stress or, sometimes psychology is just contagious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when famous people kill themselves, the rate of suicide goes up. After Kate Spade killed herself, the rate of suicide is going to go up. Same thing with various others who have killed themselves. A lot of people, I believe, if not mistaken, Chester Bennington's family mentioned something about Chris Cornell's suicide in relation to his, right? So this stuff, it escalates. Mm-hmm. People will start seeing that as a legitimate option, and, it goes on from there. But what if the case is that this is the normal rate of suicide? Is this, not that it's not a story that we shouldn't be taking better care of our police officers, but is it a story that stands out from previous years? Are we just? I go back to again. I get I want obviously anybody who served this country, I want to fucking help them if they commit suicide. Right.
Right. But I go back to this is not in the line of duty. This is after that, and it has to be a separate category. And
maybe.
But this is not a problem that is just strictly to this fucking one incident. This is a problem that has been going on for a long time in the first responder community, for a long time in the veteran community.
Yep.
This is something that we're dealing with everywhere. And especially the people who serve.
Yeah.
Right? So this is nothing new. This is the only difference is that this has got attention on it. Like everything else, everybody's numb to it.
That's easy.
So that's my point.
It's easy to pull that off in the media. If people have been ignoring a certain problem for long enough and then something pops up inside that problem, you can just say, well, that caused it. But there's no evidence.
But what I'm saying is that nobody would even, and this is how terrible the media is, the nation is, fucking just society. Nobody would give a fuck that these police officers killed themselves or what their families are dealing with if it wasn't politically driven by this Capitol riot.
Right.
If it didn't have that attached to it, nobody would even this wouldn't even be a news story. And that's the problem with it is you've got these people out there who are serving this country every single fucking day. And they are losing their lives. Families are losing their loved ones who are going out and giving everything they have. But for suicide or cancer, you talk about, dude, I've got a guy on my shift, not my shift, but on my department, cancer from being a firefighter. You know he can't get workers' comp?
Why?
Cancer for being cancer. And he can't get workers' comp. How the fuck does that make sense? So when you talk about this ain't just this problem. This is a problem everywhere. You got firefighters dying from cancer, heart attacks. You've got police officers. Police officers aren't living. Look at the statistics of how long these people live after they retire.
Yeah, it's weird.
it's fucking not good because the stress they put on their bodies, right? The stress that they put of dealing with society's, the worst of society, right?
Yeah.
And these are the facts that just the world pretends to ignore. And you know what's even worse about it is that these people are having all these issues because of what they're giving, and they're getting paid shit.
Yeah.
They're getting paid fucking nothing.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that. Malcolm Gladwell, who we've had on Drinking Bros before, was on Free Range American this week talking to Evan about a number of things. And one of the things specifically they talked about was the defund the police movement and how fucking stupid that is. I think Gladwell said it's one of the dumbest things he's ever heard in his life. In what institution or apparatus or organization or business or product or anything else would you take money away from something to make it better? That's fucking stupid. So if you want better policing, maybe we should stop spending $2 trillion on a war and then $6 trillion on another one.
Yeah.
Right?
Why?
And maybe start spending that money on our own country. Like if it's America first, if that's really what you believe, then let's actually use that money to take care of people and stop gouging people with taxes to pay for bullshit.
100%. If we start investing, how about this? If we start investing the money that we spend on giving to fucking Pakistan and all these other shit, look at the money we gave to Iran on the pallet, right?
Luckily, we gave $15 million to Afghanistan to do gender studies.
Yeah.
And then we left and the Taliban immediately took over. And guess what? There's only one gender in Afghanistan, and that's dude.
Yeah.
And if you're not one of us, then you're fucking dead.
So,
you know what I mean?
So again, if we invested in our country, and we invested in the people who wore the cloth of our country, you would fix all these problems.
A lot of it would get taken out, because the thing that's unique about people who get injured, whether it's physically or mentally in service, is that once they start to heal other people. It is a multiplying factor. They are force multipliers by definition.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a quote that we use quite a bit here. But if you can turn your pain into empathy for others, you can save 2 lives, yours and theirs. And it's something that Bezos Koulian talked about on Drinking Bros this week, Sunday night show, about his struggles and how he's developed, and like everything he's done professionally up to this point has mostly been about trying to heal himself. And he found that the best way to do it was to try to help others heal themselves, right? So that's the mindset that permeates all of these military first responders, even just fucking survivors of childhood sexual trauma, right? Which is what Bezos went through. They all have the same tendency to, once they start to see the other side, right? Once they start to crest the hill and realize that they're going to fucking make it, they reach back and grab a couple more guys and bring them with them. You know what I mean? And it's, that is the solution, right? In the same way that personal entrepreneurship and underserved communities like the black communities in cities and the white communities in rural areas, economic empowerment will solve almost every problem, right? Eventually.
Yep.
And in this case, taking care of your own fucking people first.
Well,
I mean, imagine if you're a special forces unit and your job is to train local nationals and your guys are all fucked up, how trained are the local nationals going to get?
All fucked up.
Like, they're going to get fucked up, dude. So why do we not expect the same goddamn shit? These are the leaders in our communities. For years, military service or civil service of some kind was not just required, but expected as an honorable passage into manhood and into public service if that's what you wanted, right? To start a business or to become a politician or a leader of any kind, it is expected. I mean, even look at the aristocracy in Europe. As fucked up as they are, they still send their fucking people to go be helicopter pilots at least, right? Serve your fucking country at some point first. And there's a reason for that. It's because it's the IKEA principle. Once you have a sense of ownership in a product, even if the product is the social landscape of your country, then you are more likely to fucking put more into it. That is how human beings work.
I mean, it goes back to this, right? Like whether you talk about the organization, the Marine Corps is as fucked up as anything else, right? But here's what I'll tell you they got right. Is the first thing they do to you is they instill a sense of pride in the organization. A sense of pride, right?
Yep.
And you know what? You know where we're failing as a country is there is no fucking sense of pride in this country. There's no sense of pride in that flag. You know, we might be fucked up. We might have our issues, 100%. But we've lost our fucking pride in our country. We've lost our pride in each other. We've lost our pride in our title of being a fucking American.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it's fucked. It's fucked. And until we get that back, we can't even start rebuilding or getting back on the right fucking track until having a title is held accountable and having a sense of pride in that title, a sense of pride in the greater being of this country and the people that are part of it. Until you have and can instill that sense of pride back in this nation, you're just going to keep being as fucked up as we are.
Yeah, for sure. And there's tangible proof of it, I think, this year. And maybe it's anecdotal, I don't know. But the people who were fucking bitching and running their mouths about the country and having no pride in the country have failed to meet expectations in the Olympics this year, right? Just some of the weirdos, the people turning their back on the flag, the people kneeling for the flag have all gotten bounced. And this unexpected, I think it's Tamira Mensah-Stock is her name. I think it's how you say her first name.
The wrestler?
Female wrestler.
Dude, she's badass.
She reminded me of a conversation we had with Lisa Leslie in Vegas, where we asked her what her proudest moment out of all the and this is one of the top 5 female basketball players in the history of females in basketball, right? Like she's the Kobe Bryant of female basketball, or maybe he's the Lisa Leslie, I don't know. But either way, she boiled her entire career down. The most exciting thing that ever happened for her was being able to represent her country. You could tell that this young woman feels the same. Like it was a joy and an honor for her to win her country. And I can tell you that fighting to not lose or playing to not lose never works. Prevent defenses never work. People that are fighting to survive don't fight as hard as people who are fighting for what they love, ever.
Yep.
It just doesn't work that way. And I don't know what it is physiologically that causes that. Maybe that's the role of oxytocin in evolution, who knows, right? But whatever it is, you're right. Having that sense of pride in something is the absolute fucking foundation of performance. Like I'm proud to be able to provide for my family, so I'm going to go fucking work harder for it.
100%.
It makes sense. And we've completely lost that stuff. We got way off track here. But I had fun today. Hopefully what you take out of this is respect to these officers. You know what I mean? No one would ever want to disrespect them.
No
and I would hope
chance.
that if somebody was trying to use my death, tragic or otherwise, whether it be a suicide in the line of duty or just old age, to justify some twisted and clearly demonstrably untrue political narrative, I would hope somebody would stand up and fucking say no. And that's hopefully what we've done here today.
I'll see you in hell.
We'll see you in hell.